How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Turbocharged Creations video. My name's Christian, and this video marks the beginning of our spring upgrades. So as you saw in the last video I posted, I kind of ran you through a few of the plans that I have for the Z, and I kind of showed you through some of the parts that I have that we're going to be installing on the Z very shortly. But today we're going to be focusing on this. This is a 30A transmission out of a Turbo 300ZX. And it's going to be replacing the 71C transmission that's currently in my Z. My transmission's honestly just on the way out. It's making some weird noises, and with more power you need a better transmission. So that's what this is for, but before we can install this, there's a few things I need to get done to it. First off, I want to get it cleaned, so it's actually not that bad, but it does have kind of some dirt buildup all around the edges, and I don't really like putting dirty parts into my car. So we're gonna start off by taping everything up, all the important stuff, connectors and whatnot. I have tape and elastic bands and everything here. And then we're gonna load it up in the car, and we're gonna bring it over to one of those DIY car wash spots, and we're just gonna power wash it and, you know, do our best to try to get the dirt off. And once that's done, we're going to bring it back here, and I have a bunch of OEM parts that I want to kind of replace on this thing. Some like the oil drain plugs here and some seals and whatnot. And so that's going to be the focus of this video. So let's get started. Alright, so we got the transmission back from the coin wash, and we have it on the workbench, and as you can see, it is much cleaner. I actually did go over everything with my drill and a wire wheel just to get off any of the dirt that was kind of caked on, but the pressure washer definitely did get off a lot of the oily dirt that was kind of stuck in all of these crevices. But now that it's clean, I can finally start getting some new parts put on, and I'm going to start out by doing the fill and the drain plug. I have some brand new Nissan ones here. And then after that, I also have one of these drive shaft dust cover things, so we're going to press this old one off and get this one on. And then I originally was going to do the rear seal as well as the front seal, but I talked to the guy that I bought the transmission from, and he actually did them just before I picked it up, so I guess that's just one or two things less that I got to do. And then also, a few of you may have noticed I did have a short throw shifter on here earlier. I took it off because I want to kind of clean it all up, and I may as well show you guys how to install it again. So yeah, I'm going to start by getting all of this done here, and then we can get started on this. Alright, so with those other parts installed, we can focus on getting the short throw shifter in. So I already have the shifter removed. This is just what the transmission looks like without one. And if we come down here, this is everything needed in order to get the kit to work. So for those of you that don't know, this kit's actually meant for a 240SX. It will also work with non-turbo Z31s. However, in order to get it to work with a 30A, it is going to need a few modifications. So I'm just going to run you guys through what those modifications are, and then we can go ahead and get it installed into the transmission. So first modification needed is actually going to be for this shifter arm, and specifically the bushing on the end. So here I have the exact same kit. This is what it looks like when you order it. And as you can see, the two bushings on the end are completely different. That's because the 240SX uses a much smaller diameter bushing, and the 30A transmission uses a wider diameter. So what you're going to need to do is pop this old one off and get yourself a new bushing for a 30A transmission and get that one installed, and that will take care of that modification. Next up is going to be these bolts. So in the kit, they come with these ones, and they're way too small for this application, so you're going to have to go ahead and get some longer ones. And the reason for that is because these things here that they screw into slot into this little groove, and on the 240SX this groove is actually a little bit higher, so in order to compensate for that height difference, you're going to need to get some longer ones. And finally, the last modification is actually to the things I just showed you there. When you get them in the kit, they look like this. So each nut is just tacked on with the smallest, weakest looking welds I've ever seen. And I mean, you could run them like this, but if you don't want your stuff falling apart, I would recommend to get the bolts tacked on just a little better and give yourself some peace of mind. And that's about it. So now I'm gonna get the camera set up on a stand and we can get it installed. Alright, so let's get started. First thing you guys are going to want to do is get yourself a rag and some brake clean and kind of just wipe out this inside part here. Same with all the parts, just give them a little wipe. You don't want any dirt messing up any of the bushings or the seals. Also, you guys are going to see me applying a little bit of lubricant to a few different parts. If anybody's wondering, I'm just using this 3M silicone paste. It just helps keep out dirt and moisture from getting into the transmission, and it's safe on all plastics and rubber. And what we're going to do first is actually grab that silicone, and we're going to put a little layer just on the walls of the transmission here. And once you guys have that done, we're going to start with one of these little wave washers. This is just going to slide down onto the bottom. Next up, we have this spacer that just goes right on top. There we go. And then we have another wave washer that's going to go on top of that. And then we have this little plastic cup. So this is actually the part that already came with the transmission. This doesn't come with the kit. So like I said, just give it a quick rinse, and that's going to slot in with the two dowels into these two slots. There we go. And then next up we have our shifter lever thing here. We're going to get the silicone paste again and just put some around the bushing and as well as the ball joint here in the middle. And then of course the little dowels on the side are going to slot into the grooves on the side of the shifter lever there. Next up we have this little plastic cone, and on the inside it has a little bevel that's going to match the contour of the ball here. So again, we're going to put some silicone on that, and that can go on next. Next up, we're going to grab our top plate, and this just slides on top and fits into the little outline there. And we actually have to angle it a bit just because the bolts aren't going to clear some of the casting marks on the transmission. So now we can get our bolts here, and I'll start over here. A few of you may have noticed there was one slightly smaller bolt compared to the rest, and the reason for that is because the top part of the shifter assembly is a little bit higher than the rest, and it just needs to be cut down a bit so it doesn't rub against the aluminum. Alright, so we got these 4 bolts on the bottom here all tightened up, and we have our shifter screwed on, and that's about it. So just quickly see how it feels here. Not bad, that's actually pretty tight, pretty responsive. I like how it feels. So yeah, that's we got a few steps closer here to getting the transmission done, but there's still one more big upgrade that I need to do before this thing's ready to go. And in the next video, I'm actually going to be showing you guys how to do the upgraded clutch fork. So keep an eye out for that. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.